The forest was not supposed to sound alive in winter. Winter kills sound. Winter buries noise. But that night, the snow carried a scream. A sound so sharp it sliced right into my bones. I stopped dead on the frozen trail, my breath fogging in front of me. The air smelled like pine and iron. My heartbeat echoed louder than the wind. That wasn't just any scream. That was pain. I looked behind me. My cabin light was now just a faint glow between the trees. I could still turn back. I could pretend I didn't hear anything. But then came the growl. Low, deep, broken, and much closer. My instincts screamed run, but my feet stayed rooted. I raised my flashlight and followed the sound deeper into the woods. Snowflakes fluttered like ghosts. The sky was a sheet of dark steel. Every branch creaked like bones under weight. My breath trembled. Hello? I shouted. Is someone out there? Nothing. Then the flashlight beam caught movement, a streak of white against the snow. At first I thought it was just a trick of light, until I stepped closer. There, partially buried in the snow, was a wolf. Huge, massive, not like any wolf I had seen in books or documentaries. His fur was pure white, glowing almost silver under the moonlight. Strong, beautiful, wild, but he wasn't standing. He was trapped, wrapped in the coils of a giant python. The snake's body was thick and muscular, scales glinting like armor. It had wrapped around the wolf's ribcage, squeezing, crushing. The wolf kicked weakly, his claws scattering snow. His amber eyes found mine. Not angry, not feral, just desperate. Something in my chest cracked wide open. Oh my God, you're suffocating. The snake tightened its coils. I heard the wolf's ribs crack. He let out a sound I didn't know wolves could make, a choked, wet whine. I dropped to my knees. Stay with me, I whispered. Don't you dare quit. The python lifted its head, tongue flicking as it sensed me. I should have run. Instead, I reached into my backpack with numb hands and pulled out a sharp camping knife. My father taught me to handle one. Never point a blade unless you're ready to use it, he used to say. Tonight, I was ready. Let him go. My voice was firmer than I felt. The python struck at me. Fast. Everything blurred, the snow, the breath on the air, just instinct. I slashed. The snake recoiled with a violent hiss. The wolf jerked, using the little strength he had, and bit down on the python's neck. The two thrashed in the snow, fur and scales and pure survival. I lunged forward and sliced deeper into the python's body, feeling the blade hit bone. The python uncoiled, whipping around and striking again, but the wolf caught it midair and crushed down with high jaws. A sickening crunch. The python collapsed. For a moment, everything was silent. Except my heartbeat. Except his breathing, shallow, fading. The wolf staggered and collapsed into the snow, his fur staining crimson. I dropped to the ground beside him, hands shaking as I touched his fur. Warm. So warm. Hey, look at me, I whispered, brushing snow off his muzzle. Don't close your eyes. He opened them. Amber. Soft. Intelligent. He lowered his head into my lap as if he trusted me. As if we already belonged to each other. My throat tightened. You're safe now. His breathing slowed. I stroked his fur, trying to keep him conscious. That's when my fingers brushed against something hard, a collar buried beneath his thick fur. A crest was engraved on it. A crown. Wolves. And beneath it, carved into metal, Alpha. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just a wolf. This was the alpha of a pack. A leader. A king. And I just saved his life. Suddenly, the wind changed. The trees shivered. A distant howl echoed through the forest, low, mournful, searching. Other wolves. Coming closer. I have to move, I whispered. I slid my arms under him, struggling to lift him, ignoring the burn in my muscles. Snowflakes caught in my eyelashes as I dragged him forward. Behind us, multiple glowing eyes appeared in the darkness. Watching, waiting. I should have been terrified. But instead, I felt one thing. Destiny. Because that night in the snow, I didn't just save a wolf. I saved the alpha. And nothing in my life would ever be normal again. The next morning arrived without mercy. A pale dawn filtered through the high windows of the Alpha King's fortress, brushing gold along the stone corridors. But I didn't wake to sunlight. I woke to the echo of footsteps and whispers outside my new chamber, whispers that tasted like poison. She's blind. How could the alpha choose her? Must be pity. He'll reject her soon. Their words sliced sharper than claws. I sat on the edge of the bed, fingers tracing the bandage covering my eyes, the reminder of the night that changed everything. I could still feel the Alpha King's voice in my bones, like thunder and safety at the same time. From now on, no one touches her. I wasn't used to protection. I was used to surviving. The wooden door creaked open, and warm air swept into the room. I knew him instantly, the shift in gravity, the scent of cedar and storm, the hush of dominance that made everyone stop breathing. "Are you awake?" his deep voice asked. "Yes," I swallowed. "Alpha. Kale," he corrected softly. "Call me Kale." My heart stumbled. "Kale." He stepped closer. I could sense him, heat, strength, an energy like lightning just before it strikes the earth. My fingers twitched, wanting to reach out, but afraid to cross a line. I wasn't a mate to him, not officially. I was just the girl fate shoved into his path. He lifted my chin lightly with a single finger. "You look pale. Did you sleep at all?" "Not really." The walls whisper. He exhaled sharply. "Ignore them. They fear what they cannot understand." "And what do they think I am?" I whispered. He answered without hesitation. "Mine." The word shivered down my spine. But before I could find breath, a rumble sounded, deep, dangerous, primal. A growl. It vibrated through the air, heavy paws echoing against the marble floor. The Alpha's wolf. The one everyone feared. The one I heard last night but never saw. I couldn't see him now, but I felt him. The wild black wolf moved closer, sniffing me, brushing his fur against my hand. His power crackled like fire. Yet, gently, he nudged my palm. Approval. "He likes you," Kale said, surprise coloring his tone. "He has never allowed anyone, to touch him." I smiled faintly. Maybe he knows I can't judge what I can't see. Kale let out a low, warm laugh. "You see far more than most." A soft knock interrupted the moment. A woman's voice entered, sharp, angry, trembling beneath fake sweetness. "Alpha, you asked for breakfast." The scent hit me immediately, floral perfume, expensive, suffocating. My stepsister, Hannah, the same girl who tried to steal him from me last night, even when she knew I couldn't see her. Kale's voice went cold. "You may leave the tray and go." But died on her tongue the moment his wolf growled. Hannah forced a smile I could feel rather than see. "Enjoy your meal, sister." The word dripped venom. When the door closed, Kale returned his attention to me. "Eat," he murmured. "You're safe here." "I don't know how to live safe," I admitted, fingers gripping the bedsheet. "I've only ever survived." He sat beside me, close enough that his warmth wrapped around me like a shield. "Then learn." With me. My breath hitched. For the first time, the world felt less like darkness, and more like possibility. Outside the walls, danger brewed. Jealous wolves whispered. Hannah schemed. Everyone waited for me to fail. But in this moment, with his wolf by my side, with his hand brushing mine, I believed I could finally stop running. Just once. Just here. Just with him. The fortress was alive that evening. The air vibrated with drums, laughter, clinking glasses, and wolves shifting in celebration. Tonight was the moon gathering, a pack tradition where alliances were formed, ranks were honored, and every unmated she-wolf tried to catch the Alpha King's attention. But tonight, all eyes were already on me. The blind girl. The girl no one expected to survive. Kale offered me his arm. I hesitated, fingers overing midair, unsure if I had the right to touch him. Before doubt swallowed me, he took my hand himself, slow, deliberate, gentle. "Stay close. I won't let anyone hurt you." My heart stumbled. "They hate me. They fear you," he corrected. "And wolves fear what they can't control." Together, we descended the stairs. Even without sight, I could feel the room shift. Whispers exploded like sparks. "She's not worthy. Why would he bring her here? She can't even see him." Each word stabbed deeper than claws. The sound of heels clicked across marble, sharp, entitled. My stepsister Hannah. Her perfume arrived before her voice did, suffocating and sugary. "Well, if it isn't the miracle girl," she sneered, circling me like prey. "Are you lost? Or did you just follow the Alpha's scent?" Kale's aura darkened instantly. I felt his wolf rise, raw, territorial, like a storm building inside a cage. Hannah tutted. "I mean, really. What could you possibly give him? You can't even. Suddenly, Kale's voice cut through the hall like a blade. Careful. The music stopped. The crowd froze. Even the air forgot to move. I felt a gentle touch, Kale brushing a loose strand of hair behind my ear. His voice dropped low, intimate, dangerous. One more insult to my mate, and I'll forget you're a guest of this pack. Mate. The word hit harder than the drums outside. Hannah choked. Mate? You cannot be serious. The room erupted into chaos, gasps, protests, snarls. She's blind. She's weak. She'll ruin the pack. I wanted to disappear. My throat burned. My hands trembled. I took a step back, and Kale pulled me against him, one arm around my waist, holding me like something precious. Look at me, he murmured. I can't, I whispered brokenly. He lifted my hand, pressing my palm to his chest, right where his heart thundered. Then feel me. Hear me. I choose you. My lips parted, breath shaking. But I'm not strong. I'm not. You survived what others wouldn't have, he said. Strength isn't what you see. It's what you carry. The hall fell into silence. Kale faced the pack, voice ringing with alpha command. This girl walked into hell and didn't break. From this moment forward, she is under my protection. Anyone who disrespects her, disrespects me. A collective bow rippled through the wolves, forced by instinct, by dominance. Even Hannah's knees buckled. But Kale wasn't done. He leaned closer, his breath warm against my ear. You don't have to see the world. I will be your eyes. The world tilted in slow motion. Then, a deep rumble echoed behind me. Kale's black wolf stepped forward, massive and terrifying. He brushed against my side protectively, placing himself between me and the crowd. Gasps broke out everywhere. He's guarding her. Wolves don't guard unless she is his true mate. With trembling fingers, I touched the wolf's fur, coarse, warm, alive. He leaned into my palm. Acceptance. Hannah hissed, voice shaking. This isn't fair. I was supposed to be Luna. Kale didn't even look at her. The moon doesn't choose based on your want. It chooses based on destiny. My throat tightened. A tear escaped, tracing down my cheek. He wiped it with his thumb. Never bow to anyone. If anyone bows, it will be to you. The pack watched us, stunned, silent, defeated. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like a burden. I felt chosen, desired, whole. The night after the moon gathering felt different. The fortress, usually alive with activity, was unsettlingly quiet. I could hear the wind scraping against the windows like fingernails. The silence wasn't peaceful, it was waiting. Kale walked me to my chamber himself. His fingers brushed mine, guiding me gently. Rest, he murmured. No one will disturb you. I nodded, trying to remember the layout of the room by touch. Bed to the right, fireplace to the left, my cane leaning against the table. Before leaving, Kale took my hand. Lock the door, and don't open it for anyone but me. There was something in his voice, fear. I knew why. Hannah's jealousy wasn't harmless, and a woman with entitlement in her blood could be more dangerous than a wolf with blood on his teeth. The ambush hours later, I awoke to a faint metallic click. Not the wind, not imagination, the lock. Someone was inside. My chest tightened with panic. I held still, listening. Soft steps. Perfume, floral, heavy. Hannah, don't scream, she whispered coldly, as if she were smiling. You'll just irritate me. My hands searched for my cane, but it wasn't there. Someone had moved it. Hannah, please, oh, spare me. She scoffed. Do you know what it feels like to be humiliated in front of the entire pack? To watch the alpha choose a blind little charity case? Her venom stung more than her words. I didn't force him to choose me. Exactly, she hissed, and that's the worst part. You did nothing. You just exist. Her footsteps approached the bed. I could feel her breath on my face. If you disappear, he'll have no choice but to move on. A rustle, fabric, glass. She grabbed something from her coat. A vial. And then, cloth pressed over my mouth. Chemical. Sweet. Choking. I thrashed, kicking, clawing, trying to scream, but her hand gripped my jaw. Just relax. It'll be easier. My lungs burned. My body weakened. The room blurred into darkness. Not blindness. Unconsciousness. The forest cold. Snow under my back. Wind on my face. I woke with a violent shiver, hands tied, gagged. The forest around me crackled with frost. My Brea. Th came out in painful bursts. I couldn't see, and now, I couldn't move. You should have stayed where you belong, Hannah said, voice trembling with rage. In the dark, footsteps crunched around me, multiple, not just hers. Other wolves, her supporters. Hannah stepped closer, crouching beside me. Listen carefully, she whispered, brushing hair from my face like we were sisters again. When the pack finds your body torn apart in the woods, everyone will assume it was a rogue attack. My pulse roared in my ears. She stood, voice turning vicious. Kale will mourn. Then he'll get over you. And I'll still become Luna. Before I could react, someone cut the rope around my legs. Free to run, not free to survive. Let's give her a head start, Hannah said, amusement dripping from every syllable. Snow crunched as she shoved me hard. I stumbled and fell, scraping my palms on ice. Run, little blind girl, Hannah taunted. Let's see how far pity carries you. I ran. Branches whipped against my face. Snow numbed my feet. Every breath felt like knives in my lungs. Behind me, wolves shifted, bones cracking, growls rising. They were hunting me. My heart pounded. Please, someone, anyone. I didn't know where I was running, just that I had to keep moving. The forest tilted. My legs buckled. Then, I heard it. A sound so powerful it shattered the night. A roar. Not human. Not wolf. Alpha. The air changed, charged, electric, crackling with dominance. A massive force hurtled through the trees, snapping branches like twigs. Then, the ground shook. A growl reverberated through the earth. Heat pressed against my back. A nose nudged my cheek. Warm fur brushed my frozen body. His scent, cedar, storm, kale. I found you, he growled, not in words, but in instinct, in soul. His wolf positioned himself between me and the attackers, fangs bared, snarling with lethal fury. Hannah's voice trembled. A alpha. Kale's wolf lowered his head, eyes burning with a promise of death. You touched what is mine. One wolf lunged at him. Kale moved faster than wind. A snap. A yelp. Silence. Another wolf attacked. Kale tore him off the ground like nothing. Snow turned red. Hannah tried to run. Kale blocked her path, towering, monstrous, judgment incarnate. You hurt her, he growled, voice dripping with pure violence. Now you answer to me. Hannah collapsed, sobbing. I was going to be Luna, he snarled, inches from her face. You were never going to be anything. Heavy breaths. Heavy silence. Then Kale nudged me again, lowering his massive head so I could feel his fur. I curled my fingers into it. He lifted me gently, carefully, guiding me onto his back. My voice cracked into the night. Kale, I can't see where we're going. He huffed, nuzzling me. Don't worry, I'll be your eyes. And he carried me home. The world tilted into chaos. I jerked awake inside a moving vehicle, metal walls, shuddering floor, the smell of gasoline and damp ropes. My wrists were tied. My vision pulsed red from the blow to my head. Outside the barred window, the forest blurred by like streaks of ink. Where was the alpha wolf? Where was he? A heavy chain rattled somewhere nearby. A muffled, furious snarl answered the question. He was here, and he wasn't alone. Don't worry, sweetheart, a voice slithered from the shadows. Your wolf will fetch a high price in the supernatural auction. And you. His cold fingers lifted my chin. Humans who bond with an alpha are rare. You'll start the bidding. My blood iced. They weren't just hunters, they were traffickers. They believed the alpha wolf was a rare species to sell. I forced myself to stay still, to breathe. He'll rip you apart, I whispered, voice shaking with rage. The man only smirked and slammed the door behind him. I twisted my wrists. The ropes bit into my skin, but I refused to give up. I had survived a python, this would not defeat me. Then, a howl. Deep, wild, desperate, not one I had ever heard from him before, a cry that shook metal and bone. It was a plea. For me. My heart tore open. I'm here, I whispered, voice breaking. I'm right here. The truck screeched to a halt. Men shouted. Boots thudded. Something slammed against the metal walls. Then a scream. His scream. I had to get out. My eyes scanned the floor, something sharp. A broken piece of metal from the truck interior. I scooted, ignoring the ache in my ribcage. My fingers brushed it. I grabbed it and sawed the ropes, biting my lip until blood filled my mouth. Ropes loosened, wrists free. I crawled toward the opposite door, kicked it with everything in me. Nothing. Again. Crack. Cold night air burst in. Snowflakes slapped my face. I leapt out and nearly slipped on ice, catching myself on the truck's side. Men circled him. The alpha wolf lay on his side in the snow, chained, bleeding from his foreleg. He tried to stand, shaking violently, but his body collapsed again. No. My voice shattered. Please, no. One of the hunters saw me. Grab her. I sprinted. A gunshot ripped through the night. Snow exploded beside me. The wolf's head snapped up, his golden eyes burned with a single command: run. But I wasn't leaving him. I spotted a flare gun dropped in the chaos near a snowmobile. The hunter lunged for me. I dove, rolled, grabbed it. Stood up, fired straight into the sky. The flare screamed upward, bursting into blinding red fire. The men flinched. And that second, he attacked. Chains snapped. Teeth glinted. He was no longer a captive. He was the alpha. He tackled nearest man, sending him flying into the snow. Another lifted a gun. I threw myself at him, slamming the flare gun into his face with a sound that made me gag. My chest heaved. My hands shook. The world became a blur of snarls, screams, and falling snow. Within seconds, the men scrambled back into the truck and sped away, cowards fleeing what they could never capture. Silence returned. The alpha wolf staggered, panting. His fur matted with blood. His legs trembling. I ran to him, dropping to my knees. Hey, look at me. Stay with me. He nudged his head against my chest, weak. I wrapped my arms around him, pressing my forehead to his. You came for me? I whispered. His breathing slowed. Not unconscious. Just exhausted. I placed a shaky kiss between his ears. I'm not leaving you, I promised, voice cracking. No matter what happens next. His tail thumped weakly. The snow kept falling around us, covering us like a vow. And in that moment, I realized, I wasn't just trying to save him. He saved me first. Snow swallowed sound. The night was quiet, too quiet, as I helped the alpha wolf limp through the forest. Every step he took painted a trail of red on the white ground. His weight leaned heavily against me. I wasn't strong enough to carry him, but I refused to let go. His breaths came in ragged bursts. Painful. Slow. Just a little more, I whispered, my voice shaking with cold and fear. Please, don't give up. He nudged my arm with his muzzle, reassuring me, even while bleeding. We reached a cave hidden behind frozen vines. I guided him inside and tore strips from my jacket to clean his wound. My hands trembled, slipping. I had no medical kit, no supplies, just desperation and love. Stay awake, I pleaded. Stay with me. He closed his eyes. No. I pressed my forehead against his, tears dripping onto his fur. You promised you'd be okay. His body was losing heat. Wolves needed warmth. I remembered something from a documentary. If a wolf is hypothermic, share body heat. I swallowed my fear and laid beside him, wrapping both arms around his massive body. Snowflakes melted on his fur, on my cheeks, on my lips. I buried my face in the crook of his neck. It's okay, I whispered through tears. I'll keep you warm. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time blurred. Then, his heartbeat slowed. Too slow. I lifted my head, panic ripping through me. Open your eyes. No response. You can't leave me, I cried, voice cracking. Not after everything. Not after choosing me. Silence. I squeezed my eyes shut. If there's any magic in this world, let him live. A warm hand suddenly cupped my cheek. Not a paw. A hand. I froze. Slowly, terrified, I opened my eyes. Where the wolf had been. A man now lay in my arms. Tall, breath tacky. With snow-dusted black hair and eyes that glowed gold even in human form. A faint scar brushed across his jaw, the same place where the wolf had been wounded. My heart stopped. He was beautiful. And naked. I yanked off my jacket and covered him. He smiled faintly, voice hoarse. You saved me. My breath stuttered. You, talk. He chuckled weakly. I always could. Just, not in that form. His hand brushed my cheek, gentle and reverent. I am Alpha Cairo of the Northern Pack, he murmured, eyes searching mine. You are my mate. My lips parted. Mate? That's why I felt your fear. Your pain. His thumb wiped away a tear. Wolves don't choose their mate. Destiny does. He sat up slowly, cupping the back of my neck with surprising tenderness. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. Still stunned, my voice came out small. I thought protecting you was a burden. His forehead pressed to mine, our breaths mingling. You didn't protect me, he whispered. You saved me. My heart melted, and before I could speak, he leaned in, softly, carefully, giving me time to pull away. I didn't. Our lips met. Warm, fierce, desperate. Every fear, every tear, every moment in that forest poured into that kiss. When we finally pulled apart, he rested his forehead against mine again, smiling. I think I fell in love with you the moment you stood between me and a python. I laughed through tears. I think I fell in love when you tackled a grown man to save me. Snow swirled outside the cave, dancing like confetti. He stood, strong again, and offered his hand. Come with me, he said softly. To my pack. To my life. Be my Luna. I slipped my hand into his. Always. The wind howled like a warning. The further we walked, the deeper the snow became, until it reached my knees. Pine trees stood like silent guards, tall, dark, and heavy with frost. The sky above the Alpha Kingdom was painted in shades of twilight blue, yet the air carried a strange tension. Cairo held my hand as if it were the most natural thing in the world. But the moment we passed beneath the ancient stone arch, the entrance to his world, I felt dozens of eyes on me. Sharp, judging, cold. Wolves shifted into humans around us, their forms emerging from the snow with fluid grace, bare feet on ice, golden eyes like embers. They bowed to Cairo, but not a single one bowed to me. Instead, they stared, their lips curled, their noses wrinkled as if smelling something rotten. She's human. She smells like fear. A human Luna? Impossible. A chill crawled up my spine. I expected warmth. I expected welcoming smiles. Instead, I was greeted with hatred. Cairo tightened his grip, his thumb brushing the back of my hand, not to comfort me, but to warn them. She saved my life, he saw. Voice loud enough to silence the courtyard. His eyes swept across the crowd, sharp and intimidating. She is my Luna. Gasps. Growls. The beta leader stepped forward, a towering man with hair the color of storm clouds and an expression carved from stone. As your second in command, he announced, I must speak for the pack. And we will never follow a human. His voice echoed through the courtyard like a death sentence. Dozens of wolves began shifting, fur bristling, fangs bared. I felt the energy shift from curiosity to rejection. I swallowed hard. My heart thumped against my ribs so violently I thought they might crack. I didn't ask to be your Luna, I said softly. I didn't ask for power or a title. I only, before I could finish, Cairo stepped in front of me like a wall of muscle and fury. Lightning crackled behind his eyes. You will speak to her with respect, he growled. The ground trembled. Some wolves lowered their heads. Others snarled louder. And that's when she appeared. A woman emerged from the crowd, elegant, tall, wrapped in a deep burgundy cloak. She moved like royalty, chin high, eyes glowing with predatory confidence. Her beauty wasn't gentle. It was terrifying. Her lips curled into a wicked smile. So, she said, her voice laced with venom, that's the girl you chose over me? My breath hitched. This was her, Arya, the she-wolf who expected to stand beside Cairo as Luna. Cairo's voice was ice-cold. Arya, this isn't your concern. Oh, but it is, she snapped, stepping closer. Her heels clicked on the stone floor like the ticking of a clock. Because everyone knows you were supposed to claim me. Cairo's jaw flexed with anger. I never promised you anything. That's funny, she murmured. Because your pack assumes you did. She leaned in, so close I could feel the heat radiating off her, could smell the intoxicating mix of pine and blood on her breath. Her amber eyes scanned me from head to toe, dripping with disgust. She doesn't belong here, she whispered. She will never belong. My throat tightened, but I didn't look away. I refused to. Arya tilted her head with a cruel smirk. He will regret choosing you. The pack murmured in agreement. For a moment, doubt clawed its way into my chest. Maybe I wasn't strong enough. Maybe destiny made a mistake. But then, Cairo leaned forward, his hand gently cupping the back of my neck, his lips brushing my ear. His voice was low, intimate, unbreakable. You were chosen the moment you risked your life for mine. My heartbeat steadied. No more fear. No more doubt. If destiny had placed me here, then I would stand my ground, no matter who wanted me gone. I lifted my chin and looked straight into Arya's burning amber eyes. I don't need your approval. I whispered. I already have his. Her expression shattered. I didn't know how frightening the future would become. But one thing was certain. I would not let anyone, wolf or human, break me. Night arrived like a threat. The Alpha Kingdom transformed under moonlight, stone towers gleamed silver, banners swayed in the icy wind, and torches flickered like restless spirits. From every corner of the fortress, wolves gathered. Not to welcome me, to judge me. Arya stood at the center of the courtyard, wearing a victorious smirk. The beta flanked her left. Elders, ancient, cold-eyed, cloaked in fur, watched from a raised platform. And between them, a pedestal made of ice. On it rested a stone, round, glowing faintly, shimmering with ethereal light. The moonstone. I inhaled shakily. What is this? Cairo exhaled sharply. He hated this. It's an ancient ritual. Only a true Luna can awaken the stone. A destiny test, Arya said, stepping closer to me. Her perfume smelled like cinnamon and venom. If you fail, you leave. My heart punched against my ribs. And if I pass? I asked. Arya leaned close, her voice dripping poison. Then I leave. The beta lifted his chin, voice booming over the courtyard. The moon goddess will judge. If the human is not the chosen Luna, the stone will remain dead. Gasps. Murmurs. Some wolves shifted in excitement. They wanted to see me fail. Cairo reached for my hand, but I pulled away. I needed to do this alone. I stepped toward the moonstone. Each footstep felt heavier. The air grew colder. Snowflakes whipped around me in frantic circles. The elder's chant began, ancient words in a language older than the kingdom. The stone pulsed once, like a heartbeat. My lungs felt tight. What if it didn't glow? What if I wasn't chosen? Arya's voice slithered behind me. Go back to your little human life, sweetheart. Leave the wolf world to us. I ignored her and placed my palm on the stone. It was ice cold, freezing my bones, stabbing pain through my fingers. My breath hitched as the cold traveled up my wrist, gripping my arm like claws. The stone remained dim, silent. Arya's laugh echoed. She's unworthy. Whispers erupted. I knew it. She can't be the Luna. Humans are weak. My knees trembled. My throat burned. Not from the cold, from humiliation. Maybe destiny did make a mistake. Maybe I didn't belong. I closed my eyes and whispered, not to the elders, not to the wolves, but to the moon goddess. I didn't save him for a title. I saved him because he mattered to me. Tears slipped down my cheeks, hitting the stone. That's when it happened. Boom. The stone exploded with light. A blinding flash, silver and violet, shot straight into the sky. Wind roared through the courtyard. Wolves stumbled back. Elders froze. Snow lifted into a shimmering cyclone, spiraling around me like a living storm. My hair lifted off my shoulders, haloed in silver fire. The moonstone glowed white-hot under my palm. Then, symbols carved themselves onto the stone's surface. Luna. Arya gasped, face pale with horror. Cairo dropped to his knees in front of me, eyes wide, voice cracked with awe. You awakened it. The beta lowered his head. The elders bowed, and the moon goddess mark, crescent silver, appeared on the skin of my wrist, glowing like moonlight trapped under my flesh. Cairo stood slowly, cupping my face with reverence. You are my Luna, he whispered. Destined, chosen. The wolves echoed, Luna. Luna, Luna. Arya trembled, her voice barely a whisper. This isn't over. Then she turned and vanished into the shadows. But I no longer felt fear. For the first time, I belonged. The celebration of my awakening should have lasted all night. Wolves were howling the word Luna into the sky. Cairo's arms were wrapped around me as if he wanted to fuse our souls together, and the entire courtyard glowed with torchlight and reverence. But destiny doesn't give peace without a price. It takes first. And that night, destiny took everything. Hours after the ceremony, I stood alone on a balcony overlooking Cairo's kingdom. The moon was full, suspended above a sea of silver pine. Snowflakes drifted lightly through the air, landing on my eyelashes like cold kisses. I finally exhaled. Finally, I felt like I belonged. until a strange scent brushed against the wind. Not pine, not smoke, blood. My heartbeat accelerated. I stepped forward, gripping the frozen railing. In the distance, 3 figures moved through the trees, silent shadows. Wolves? No. Their shapes were wrong. Their aura was dark, heavy. Rogues. A chill slithered down my spine. One of them, massive, fur black as tar, lifted its head toward the castle. Its eyes glowed, unnatural, red. And in that moment, I felt something invasive, violating. Like someone entering my mind. He was meant to be mine. The voice was female. Familiar. Poisoned with jealousy. Arya. My blood ran cold. Before I could scream, the huge black wolf leapt, covering distance with horrifying speed, straight toward the balcony. Care. I didn't finish his name. Glass shattered behind me. Strong arms wrapped around my waist, yanking me back inside just as the rogue wolf's claws swiped the air where my throat had been. We crashed onto the floor. Cairo shifted mid-jump, fur erupting from skin, bones stretching and breaking into wolf form. He hit the intruder with full force. The 2 beasts rolled across the marble floor, snapping jaws and spraying blood. Cairo. I pushed up, but a large hand slammed me back down. It was the beta. His face grim, voice urgent. Stay down. No, he needs me. A roar echoed so loud the floor vibrated. Cairo pinned the rogue, jaws clamped onto its neck. But the rogue spoke. Yes, spoke, in a warped, broken voice. She will destroy you. Cairo hesitated. In that single second, the rogue twisted its body and sank its teeth into Cairo's shoulder. Cairo yelped in pain. Rage tore through my chest. I grabbed the nearest torch and ran, feet sliding on ice-slick marble. The beta shouted after me, but I didn't stop. I slammed the burning torch across the rogue's back. It howled, fur igniting for a heartbeat, then released Cairo. Cairo limped back, shifting into human form again, blood running down his arm. Are you insane? He roared at me. You could have died. I trembled, but I didn't back down. I will never stand still and watch you bleed. Cairo stared at me with an emotion I'd never seen from him, pure fear. Not fear of the rogue. Fear of losing me. Behind us, the rogue wolf shifted into human form, a tall, scarred boy with hatred burning in his eyes. And then she stepped out from behind him. Arya, a red cloak wrapped around her like spilled blood. You awakened the moonstone, she sneered. Congratulations. Her eyes flicked to Cairo's wounded shoulder. But mark my words, she isn't your salvation. She pointed at me with a claw-like nail. She's your destruction. Rogues surrounded her, like shadows obeying a queen of darkness. Cairo shielded me with his body. His voice shook, not with fear, but with fury. You betrayed your pack. Arya smiled. No, I simply formed a better one. She turned to the rogues. Take her. The floor shook as they lunged. Cairo shoved me behind him, shifting into wolf form with lightning speed, a terrifying explosion of power. He fought like a storm, ripping into rogues one after another. But there were too many. And one of them, smaller, silent, slipped behind us. Before I could react, claws wrapped around my throat from behind. Cairo spun. Too late, I was yanked backward into darkness. Arya's whisper was the last thing I heard. If I can't be Luna, then no one will. The world vanished into black. The next morning, the castle woke before I did. Echoes of footsteps moved through the hallway, guards switching shifts, servants preparing for the Luna ceremony that half the pack hoped I would fail. I opened my eyes slowly. Cairo wasn't beside me. His scent still lingered, pine and storm, but his absence felt like ice against my skin. Before I could panic, the door opened silently. A young girl entered, probably no more than 14, carrying folded clothes. Her eyes widened when she saw me awake, and she dropped into a clumsy bow. Lady Luna? Alpha instructed me to breathe. In your outfit. Still not used to that title, I sat up. Please, just call me Arya. She blinked, confused, like kindness was foreign here. I'm Elowen, she whispered. I'm in training to serve the Luna. The future Luna. The words echoed like a challenge. She set the clothes on the table. A deep black ceremonial dress, threaded with silver like moonlight trapped in fabric. Then I noticed something. Her hands were trembling. Is something wrong? I asked gently. Elowen swallowed hard, voice barely a breath. They're going to test you today. I froze. Test me? She nodded. It's tradition. A new Luna must prove she can protect the alpha and the pack. Physically, emotionally, spiritually. Her eyes flicked to the door as if afraid someone would hear. But Arya, they changed the test for you. My heartbeat stumbled. How? Elowyn supplied the answer with a whisper that turned my blood cold. They're sending you into the trial ground. I didn't know the name, but my wolf-side instincts, if I had any, reacted instantly. Goosebumps. Accelerated breathing. What is it? I asked. A place where our warriors train against things that can kill them. Wolves don't go there alone. Her eyes welled. But they'll send you, human, alone. My stomach dropped. I clenched the fabric of the dress in my hand. Arya had done this. Arya wanted me gone. Not just humiliated, eliminated. I forced my voice steady. Does Cairo know? Elowyn hesitated. They lied to him. They told him it's only a formal walk-through. A quiet rage unfurled inside me, cold, sharp, lethal. No magic, no claws, no powers, just me, a human. But I remembered something Cairo told me the night in the forest, when I saved him from that python. Strength isn't in the teeth. It's in the heart. I changed into the dress. I didn't need validation. I didn't need acceptance. I needed to survive. The courtyard buzzed like a hornet's nest when I walked out. Wolves lined the perimeter, whispering, judging. Arya stood at the front, wearing a gown dripping in authority. She smiled when she saw me. Not kindly, like a wolf bearing fangs. Well, she purred, try not to die too quickly. Before I could retort, the gates to the trial ground opened, a massive arena of ancient stone and shadows. Cold wind slithered out. Every instinct screamed to run. But then I spotted Cairo across the courtyard, held back by guards, fighting them, fury blazing in his eyes. He shouted my name. Arya, don't go, this isn't. His voice was drowned as the iron gates slammed shut behind me. Darkness swallowed everything. Only the echo of my own breath remained. And then, a deep, primal growl rumbled from the shadows. Not one growl. 3. Something was in here with me, hunting me, but I straightened my spine. I had survived a python. I had survived rejection. I had survived fate itself. And now, I would survive them, even if I had to fight with blood, bone, and will alone. Darkness pressed against my skin like a living thing. Every sound echoed. Every breath felt too loud. My footsteps on the cold stone floor sounded fragile, like glass about to break. The trial ground wasn't just dark. It was alive. Something moved in the black. A scrape. A low snarl. Then, another. 3 predators, circling me from different directions. My throat tightened, but I forced myself to breathe slowly. Panic is death. My fingertips grazed the rough stone wall beside me as I edged forward. My pulse thudded like a drum. Then a torch on the wall flickered to life, by itself. And another. And another. Flames raced along the walls until the arena was flooded with dim, eerie light. My blood ran cold. 3 huge wolves emerged from the shadows. Not ordinary wolves. These were beasts, bigger than anything I had ever seen. Their eyes glowed with unnatural gold, like fire forged in bone. Their fur was scarred from previous battles. They circled me like prey. A voice echoed through the arena, magnified, cruel. Arya, welcome to the trial ground, little human. I spun toward the sound, and saw her standing on a high balcony, the beta and a cluster of pack elders beside her. She smiled like a queen watching entertainment. If you survive 1 hour, you will be accepted as Luna. My heart sank. 1 hour. With creatures bred for killing. Cairo's voice thundered somewhere behind locked gates. Arya, stop this, open the damn gates. But Arya only raised a hand dismissively. Alpha or not, tradition must be respected. No, not tradition. Her ego. Her hunger to see me fail. The wolves edged closer. I scanned the arena, looking for anything, a weapon, a stick, a stone. A glint caught my eye. A broken spear, probably left from previous fights, half buried near the wall. I lunged for it. The wolves sprang. I rolled, grabbing the spear, just as one lunged at my throat. I jammed the broken end into the ground, blocking its jaws. A snarl ripped from its throat. Its body slammed me backward against the wall, knocking the air from my lungs. Pain exploded across my ribs. I staggered to my feet, gripping the spear tighter. My fingers shook, but I forced them still. I may be human, I whispered, but I'm not helpless. The wolves growled, pacing. I backed toward the shadows, forcing them to come at me one at a time. The first wolf leapt again. I dodged under its body, swinging the spear sideways. It hit only fur, not flesh. The wolf crashed into the wall and shook off the impact like nothing. Arya laughed from above. This is embarrassing. I ignored her. Focus. Move. Survive. The second wolf lunged low, going for my legs. I kicked dirt into its eyes and rolled away, scraping my palms raw on the ground. Blood dripped from my knee. Sweat stung my eyes. Every muscle screamed, I can't keep this up. My lungs burned with fear and exhaustion. The wolves regrouped, forming a triangle around me. I tightened my grip. If I die here, Cairo will think he failed me. Something inside me snapped. Not with fear, with fury. I didn't save an alpha king from a python just to die like this. The biggest wolf charged. At the last second, I dropped to my knees, sliding under its body, and drove the spear upward, catching its shoulder. Not enough to kill, but enough to make it yelp and stumble. The other two wolves froze, surprised. Arya's smirk faded for the first time. Then, a deafening crash. A huge force slammed into the metal gates. The ground trembled. Another slam. And another. The wolves' ears flattened. Their eyes shifted toward the entrance. A final, earth-shattering boom. The gates ripped off their hinges, metal twisting like paper. My heart stopped. Because there, in the opening, stood Cairo. Not in human form. Not shifting slowly. He burst into the arena in a form I had never seen. A massive wolf, larger than the others, midnight black with streaks of silver, eyes glowing like blue flame. Power radiated off him in waves. His voice echoed in my mind, raw, primal, furious, no one touches my mate. The wolves who moments ago hunted me now whimpered, backs low, ears flat. Cairo's snarl shook the walls. He leapt between me and the beasts, teeth bared, body shielding mine. I clung to his fur, collapsing against his side. He lowered his head to my cheek, nuzzling gently. I'm here, his voice murmured inside my mind. I won't let anyone hurt you. Above us, Arya's face twisted with shock and rage. This isn't possible, she spat. She's human. How can you mind link with her? Cairo turned his blazing blue eyes up at her. Because she is not just a human. He shifted back into his human form, still shielding me. He picked me up, cradling me against his chest. Then, in front of the entire pack, he declared, Arya is my fated mate. My Luna. Touch her again, and I will burn the throne before I give it to you. Gasps. Silence. Shock. I buried my face into his chest as his heartbeat thundered beneath my ear. He looked down at me with a softness no one else ever saw. Arya, you do not need to prove yourself to them. But I lifted my chin. No, I whispered, voice steady. I already did. The council chamber was carved from stone older than the kingdom itself. Tall pillars. Torches burning blue instead of orange. Shadows twisted like ghosts on the walls. And in the center, a throne. Cairo stood beside me, shoulders tense, jaw set like steel. The elders sat in a half-circle. Their eyes, sharp, cold, calculating. At the front stood Elder Ravik, the most feared among them. We cannot allow a human to become Luna, he announced. His voice echoed, deep and unforgiving. Arya stood behind the council table, chin raised in victory. This ends today, she purred. She walks away, or the kingdom falls. My heart hammered, but I lifted my chin anyway. I didn't come here to steal power, I said quietly. I came here because I saved someone's life. Elder Ravik leaned forward. Why did the Alpha bond with you? Humans cannot mind link. Humans cannot carry an Alpha heir. You are a liability. Cairo snarled, stepping in front of me. She is my fated mate, chosen by the moon. Prove it, Ravik challenged. And suddenly, I understood. Everything I'd survived, the python, the wolves, the trial ground, none of it was the real test. This moment was. Cairo squeezed my hand. His voice echoed softly in my mind. Whatever happens, I'm with you. I took a step forward, away from him. My whole life, I felt different. Like there was something wrong with me. The elders watched, unreadable. I was abandoned as a baby, I continued. No name, no family, nothing. Arya smirked as if that proved her point. I reached deep inside myself, past the fear, past the pain, into the place where Cairo's presence glowed warm and steady. And then, I felt something else. Like a pulse of light. My breath caught. Suddenly, the torches flared brighter, as though reacting to me. Gasps echoed through the council. What was that? Elder Ravik whispered. Cairo stepped closer, eyes wide. Arya, what did you just do? I didn't know. It felt instinctive, natural, like a door in my mind opened. A soft glow formed around my hands, silver, like moonlight. The elders stood so fast that chairs scraped against stone. That energy only belongs to... Ravik stopped mid-sentence, eyes widening. A moon touched. Silence roared through the hall. Arya's face drained of color. Moon touched. A human born once in a century. Not wolf, not human, destined. Ravik cleared his throat, voice trembling. Only a moon touched can bond to an alpha without turning wolf. Only a moon touched can mind link. She is chosen by the moon goddess herself. Cairo's fingers intertwined with mine. You were never ordinary, he whispered. You were meant for me. Arya screamed, the sound raw and furious. No, it should have been me. Her eyes turned wild. She lunged forward with claws extended, ready to rip me apart. Before she touched me, I didn't even lift my hand. A burst of glowing silver energy exploded between us, sending her flying backward across the chamber. Everyone froze, even Cairo. I stared at my shaking hands. I didn't mean to. He cupped my cheeks, eyes full of awe, not fear. You are Luna by destiny. Ravik bowed. One by one, the elders knelt. The moon has spoken. Cairo took my hand and led me toward the throne. Not forcing me, not claiming me, inviting me. He leaned down, voice soft enough only I could hear. When I first saw you, covered in snow, fighting a python to save a wolf, I thought you were brave. He lifted my hand to his chest. But now I realize, you were fate. He knelt before me, lowering his head. I, Cairo, Alpha King of the North, choose you as my Luna. A hush settled. My heart swelled to the point of breaking. I placed my hand over his heart. And I choose you, not because you're Alpha, but because you're mine. The torches blazed like wildfire. The entire pack howled. A coronation. A bond. A beginning. Cairo rose and pulled me into his arms, spinning me as laughter broke from my lips. Outside, the skies opened with snowflakes, shimmering like silver light. No longer rejected, no longer unworthy. I was Luna. And when Cairo pressed his forehead to mine, whispering against my lips, "You are home now, my love," I finally believed him.